The 2-0 Philadelphia Eagles head back home to play the Los Angeles Rams Sunday at 1 o'clock, and we got some things to discuss, man. I think this game is going to be a potential shootout in a game to where I honestly believe that the offense could let their hair down a little bit and begin to get a little active in the passing game. We've been missing that for the first 2 games of the season. And at this point, it's time to show some versatility on the offensive side of the ball. You know what I mean? We already know the concerns swirling around Kevin Patullo and things of that nature. We already know the concerns swirling around the offensive line. I think that's a bit of an underrated concern. An underrated concern in this whole thing going into week 3 is the offensive line and the blocking schemes and some of these passing downs. There's been video that has come out that's shown, busted blocking assignments on the offensive line that could have led to some big gains through the air, but the quarterback just didn't have the time. So this is not all on Kevin Patullo. This is on some of the offense in general. Blocking schemes, protections being called, whatever the case may be. The Philadelphia Eagles have a way to show a different facet of themselves. This is not an easy task this week, man. I'm telling you, man, the Rams are playing some great NFC ball. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, they looking like they got a 1A and 1A at wide receiver 1. And there's some things that I noticed in the film when diagnosing and watching these guys that show clue context to what these guys like to do the most and things that we got to look out for. You know what I mean? But before we get into that, man, let's listen to a little bit of Kevin Patullo and what he had to say in terms of the passing game.
So what can you do to get the ball down the field?
Yeah, I think when you look at when we game plan and stuff like that, that's obviously always the first thing we do is how do we want to push the ball down the field. And as a staff, we work really hard on the plan, especially these next couple of days to put that on there. And that's a part of it. And sometimes, in game, it just doesn't happen. It's definitely something we want to do. It's not something we're avoiding. So I know going forward, we have the plan in place. And if it comes up, it'll definitely happen.
It looked like you might have had a long, explosive play dialed up from the first play.
Mm-hmm.
But, some breakdown and
Yep.
protection there. Is that accurate? Were you trying to get...
Yeah, we had a shot. It didn't happen, unfortunately. And, we're in a 2nd and long, and we just...
The fact that we out here trying to put an emphasis on the passing game right now, it lets me believe that we might end up overdoing it. We might, in some capacity, I don't think we'll abandon the run because everything the Rams fear about us is in the running attack. They're one of the teams we abused last year. In the postseason and in the regular season, Saquon Barkley had a career day against the Rams, and we know the legendary running game in the snow against the Rams as well. But, the fact that Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni are trying to put an emphasis on this pass game lets me know that they're really, really going to grind out some special plays and some creativity this week for the Los Angeles Rams. And I think that if they be creative, I think it'll work. I think it'll work this week. For some reason, I don't think that we'll fail trying to be creative. I think that being creative could be, we could silence the doubters, man. So, in a perfect world, I would like to see a couple of passing touchdowns from Jalen. I would like to see the wide receivers get some work. I would like to see a lot because the opportunity is there. Although the Rams have one of the best young defensive fronts in the National Football League, they are without a starting corner for the remainder of the season. You know what I mean? Witherspoon, I believe his name is. So I'm hoping that, he's healthy. I hope he gets healthy or whatever the case may be. But it's not going to be this season. It is what it is. And that's something that the Eagles could take advantage of. They have some shuffling around they got to do, and it's a home game. I expect the birds to fly high in this game, man, for sure. Now let's look at a couple of these plays, in correspondence to things that the Rams like to do. So the first thing that I noticed about the Rams is how the Rams like to use play action. The Rams are killing the NFL so far with play action. Matthew Stafford is dominating with play action, and he's a vet, a savvy vet, and nobody really sells a play action or a run like a savvy vet who's seen it all like Matthew Stafford. So they've been dominating with play action. But I'm not going to sit here and act like it's unstoppable. You know what I mean? I think we got the guys that have the eye discipline that can be in the same spot for sure. They do have some advantages on the offensive side of the ball with having two star wide receivers, but the play action can go to a tight end, it can go to a running back, it can go to anybody. So it'll behoove us to make sure that we know where everybody is during these situations with play action. And another thing that I noticed as well with these guys is they like to motion the tight end to the outside a lot. You know what I mean? They like to give you some eye candy. They motion the tight end to the outside a lot. And sometimes when the tight end is on the edge, you kind of think of a tight end as lead blocker. But these guys pass from this formation a lot. They motion the tight end to the outside of the formation, leaving Puka Nacua, ultimately in the slot, or Devontae Adams in the slot. And when Puka Nacua is in the slot, he gets matched up with a linebacker or a safety or whatever the case may be. And we know Puka Nacua is a handful, man. He's a handful, man. He's on the bigger side of wide receivers, in my opinion, with just physicality and the way that he plays. But, these are two things you got to watch out for. When that tight end is to the outside of the formation, understand that Puka Nacua will be a hot route. 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, Puka Nacua will be a hot route. But I think we got the defensive coordinator to combat the things that Sean McVay likes to do. I think that, Vic Fangio is up for these challenges. And I like Vic Fangio's mindset because Vic Fangio brought pressure to Patrick Mahomes last week, but he didn't do it at all in the Super Bowl for the most part. And Vic understands that, hey, these are two different teams. These are two different Philadelphia Eagles defenses, and pressure is kind of needed. You know what I mean? Sometimes pressure is needed. With the other team, pressure wasn't needed, and I respect that out of Vic Fangio. I looked at a little tape from the Tennessee Titans game, and I'm not going to sit here and act like the Titans wasn't getting off on these guys for real. I think the Titans showed that they could move the ball on these guys. So I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibilities for our offense to have a good day. You could see a 40-burger in this game from the Eagles offense. Like, the tools are there. Everybody's there. You could see a legitimate 40-burger, from the Philadelphia Eagles offense. That's not outside of the realm of possibilities. At some point, and I alluded to this last year. The offense was subpar in the minds of people against the Packers. It was subpar in the minds of people against the Rams, but we know about the snow game. I warned everybody on the Commanders side that the Eagles offense was due for an explosion, and look what happened, 55 points. I warned everybody that the Eagles offense was due for an explosion, and 55 points happened. Just like I warned everybody before the Pittsburgh game that we were due for an explosion, and what happened after that game? Is this what y'all wanted to see? We got the infamous quote from Jalen Hurts. I'm telling you right now, the Eagles are due for an offensive explosion. We're due for an offensive explosion. I just hope that we are able to finally play complementary football. Because in my opinion, I don't care how winning looks. Of course, you want things to look a certain way, but what happens when the defense has a tough day out there? What happens when the defense has a tough day out there? Because in my opinion, a tough day for the defense is coming, whether it's this week or next week against the Bucs. But what happens when the defense has a tough day? Can the offense go out there and go bar for bar? Do we have the play calls, and do we have the play calling, the play calling acumen to go bar for bar, shot for shot, point for point with these guys? So let's get to the keys to victory on how we're going to defeat the Los Angeles Rams Sunday at 1 o'clock. The first thing we're going to do is we're still going to run the ball. Make no mistake about this. No point of these keys do we get into abandoning the run. That's just not feasible for us. That's just not who we are. We're going to continue to run the ball because Saquon Barkley is also due to break a big one. He's due to break a big one. He's getting closer and closer to it, if you ask me. He's due to have a string of big runs because that's what Saquon Barkley brings to the table. You know what I mean? Run the ball, but mix up how you do it. That's the first key for me. Please try to challenge these guys outside. You know what I mean? This ain't the same offensive line from last year, man. I got to keep it a beam, man. This offensive line looks a little different with Mekhi Becton. You know what I mean? But maybe we just played two really good defensive lines in the first 2 games. That could be the case. But it don't get no easier with the Rams D-line, or don't get no easier with Vita Vea and them guys the week following. Even though Kalijah Kancey is out for the season as well for the Bucs, but we'll get to that when it's time to play the Bucs. Let's not just run up the middle. We did so much of that week 1 and week 2. Running right into Kenny Clark. Running right into dude talking about Jalen ain't got 100 yards. I forgot his name, man. We did too much of that. But we had success when we got Saquon Barkley out to the edge. He's a threat to break big runs that way. We had success when we did that. So let's mix it up. Some inside, some outside, zone reads, whatever it is we want to do, man. Off tackle, off guard, straight up the middle, ISOs, draw plays, all of that. And also, let's utilize the running backs in the screen game. I haven't seen much of Tank Bigsby yet, but let's get Tank Bigsby brought up to speed. Let's utilize these guys in the screen game. You know what I mean? The second key to victory, we're going to stay on the offensive side of the ball for sure. Let's get some easy completions, easy timing throws. Easy. And when I say easy, I don't mean a bunch of slants. I don't mean a bunch of slants. You know what I mean? I don't mean a bunch of slants. Let's start the game with some easy completions, and let's still pick our shots. Like, let's get back to playing regular football, man. And I'll explain what that means in the third key. The third key, minimize the tush push. Minimize the tush push. You heard that, man. You heard that. Minimize the tush push. If you got these guys at 3rd and inches, yeah, you could QB sneak it or whatever the case may be. But 2nd and inches, 2nd and 1, those are when you're supposed to take a shot. 2nd and short are usually the downs where you take a shot. Let's take a shot when we're supposed to take a shot. Let's dial up our shots. Let's be calculated. Let's be consistent. Let's give them a dose of their own medicine. Play action. Let's move in the pocket. Let's boot to the left, boot to the right. Let's do all the things that we know we can do with a mobile quarterback. Let's do these things, man. We got the offense. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Some keys for the defensive side of the ball is, man, you definitely gotta bracket the side that Adoree Jackson's on. I'm not gonna lie. I would bracket the side that Adoree Jackson's on. Whoever he's lined up against, man, I would make sure that you give him some help over the top or underneath or however you're gonna do it. Matthew Stafford is a quarterback that can absolutely make every throw on the football field. It's not a throw Matthew Stafford can't make, bro. You know what I mean? Matthew Stafford has an elite arm talent, side arm throws, everything. Matthew Stafford could throw on angles. Matthew Stafford is just him from the pocket. He's been like that for a very, very long time. I enjoy watching Matthew Stafford play from time to time. So let's give Adoree Jackson some help. And also let's bring some pressure on Matthew Stafford. He's not mobile. You know what I mean? Pat was able to get out the pocket on us a couple times. We're not going to have them issues out of Matthew Stafford. So containing the quarterback really isn't that big of a deal for us. So being as though you don't have to contain the quarterback, we could drop the edges back in coverage a little bit, you know what I mean, from time to time to take away some of them underneath routes. They love to have a layered concept going across the middle off play action. Let's be mindful of the guys that we going up against. Let's be mindful of the guys we're going up against, and let's be mindful of the things that the guys like to do that we're going up against. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to beat the Rams. You know, I'm not doubting that we're going to come out of this thing victorious for sure, but you know what I mean? It's football. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. I like what Vic Fangio is doing. We're bringing pressure. I love how Jordan Davis is playing. I expect Jalen Carter to have a much better game. He's getting his legs under him. His condition seems to be off, according to Vic Fangio and guys in the building. But, you know, at the end of the day, I got the Philadelphia Eagles winning this game by a score of 40-24. I think the Eagles going to put up 40 in this game. The Eagles going to win this game at home. I think the offense clicks this week, and we should have a good celebration, a good parade, man. Before I get out of here, I want y'all to tap in, man. Big sleeper. Use the code at the bottom of the screen, LB Super Bowl MVP. Get $100 off your $100, man. It's a no-brainer to me. I don't know why anybody wouldn't do it. So go over there and tap in with Sleeper, man. Get real-time updates, real-time movement, trades, news, all of that stuff. Fantasy, pick'ems. Sleeper got it all for you, man. Terms and conditions apply. You want to be safe when you're using any type of gambling app. Don't play with no money that you can't afford to lose. But like I said, if you use code LB Super Bowl MVP, we giving you extra money to play with, man. 40-24 birds.